For some, not much to us, Sati's return was a surprise. If you have been following this channel, we only got the confirmation of a theory that we had been talking about. The fact is that the role of Sati was much bigger than what was shown in the movie. She formulated Trinity's rescue plan and revealed what the Analyst's plans were. But how does Sati know so much about the Analyst? And why does it seem that she had joined him? Sati's first appearance in Matrix 4 was in Neo's daily living montage. If we pay close attention, we see that Sati has interacted with Neo and Trinity in this simulation. Sati works at Simulate, the coffee shop that Neo and Trinity frequent, at the food counter. During the montage, she interacts with Neo, gives an order to Trinity, and you can see her in the background at the counter when Neo is eating, reading her book. Therefore, this explains some fundamental information about this character. She is not hiding, as the Oracle or any other Exile would have done. She is inside the simulation, watching over Neo and Trinity. But this is but one clue that made us think that the Analyst allowed Sati to be in the simulation, because Sati may be an ally of the system. Another Exile who had a short appearance was the Merovingian. The operator Zeke mentioned that low-frequency portals were opened soon before the Frenchman made his brief appearance. It means that the Merovingian is hiding. His clothing and rough appearance show that he must stay away from the simulation to avoid being purged. But this is not the case with Sati. She is in this simulation at all times. Something feels off with her. Who is Sati? For those of you who do not remember who this character is, she was perhaps the most important character in the previous trilogy. Sati is the first program that was born out of love between two programs, Ramachandra and Kamala. The family met Neo at Mobile Ave. It was later revealed that Sati was not only a purposeless program, but for the Oracle, Sati was going to change the real world and the simulation.
Because the child is important. I can't tell you why, but I believe that one day the child will change both our world and your world forever.
We assumed that Sati could be the fortune teller's successor, but something changed. The Matrix Resurrections tells us that after a civil war between the machines, a new version of the Matrix began, where a purge of all exiled programs occurred. The Oracle fell victim to this purge. Sati survived the purged, but not only that, she went to the side of the enemy. How do we know this? Well, Sati said the following: "My father knew we'd meet again, though he would have wished for happier circumstances. His inadvertent role in what happened to you was the greatest regret of his life. My father designed the resurrection pods where Neo and Trinity were imprisoned. This revelation is very important. Ramachandra was working for the Analyst. There is the possibility that he worked as a double agent, working for the Analyst while still taking orders from the Oracle, but then it wouldn't make sense why he felt remorseful for his actions. As far as we know, Rama did work for the Analyst and created the technology that resurrected and imprisoned Neo and Trinity. Rama possibly did this to prevent the Analyst from purging his daughter. He has always done what was necessary for his family." Naobi was upset with Sati for hiding this information, to which Sati apologizes by saying that she often doubted if she was doing the right thing by not telling them. Sati knew Neo was alive and trapped inside the simulation, and she did nothing to help him, not even informing Zion or Io. The fact that she withheld information did nothing to help Trinity and Neo for decades, and was not eliminated during the purge, leads us to think that perhaps Sati switched sides, or that she made the Analyst believe that she had switched sides. This happened after her family was purged, and she has been waiting ever since for her moment to take revenge. Sati mentions something else important about what her father did. "When my father realized how the Anomallium was going to be used, he covertly transferred the designs to me. The Analyst discovered his betrayal and had my parents purged. I would have been murdered too if it wasn't for Kojaku. Not a day goes by that I don't grieve them. I've been praying for this day for a very long time." Her father's actions, sending Sati the design plans of the Anomallium, was labeled as a betrayal by the Analyst. Perhaps when Rama was working for the Anomallium, the Oracle was still alive and Sati was with her. Or Sati was already working for the Analyst, and Rama knew that she would not approve of what was happening to Neo and would find a way to help him. Whatever the reason, the Analyst eliminated Sati's parents, and she had to escape to the real world. This is in contrast to the previous trilogy, where Sati had to escape into the Matrix. Now Sati had to escape inside a machine. Sati becomes a key part of Trinity's rescue, as she knows the Anomaly perfectly and knows how to disconnect Trinity without killing her. Sati accomplishes her plan, but too many questions remain regarding her past. How could Sati work at Simulate without the Analyst noticing and purging her? Why does the Merovingian, a program that had so much power, now have to stay hidden? Could it be that Sati works for the system and what we saw was a farce? Or is it that everything that happened was still part of the Oracle's plan? Sati has already hidden something as important as the survival of Neo and Trinity for more than 6 decades. So perhaps she knows the whereabouts of the Oracle, but is keeping it secret. How will the Oracle's prophecy about Sati changing both worlds be fulfilled? At the moment, we believe that Sati's intentions are not entirely clear. We can't help but doubt her honesty. Neo may be again trapped in a power struggle between the Oracle and the new architect. Sounds like the Oracle trained Sati well. But do you agree? Is Sati working for the Oracle or the Analyst?
Tired of your cookies not coming out as you want them to? That they don't taste like how your mother used to make them in her kitchen when you were a kid? Well, we have the solution for you. Introducing Oracle's Cookies. Made only with the best ingredients and benevolent intentions. Oracle's Cookies will make you feel like you're the only one who can save the world. So don't delay. Pick up the phone and order now. There is absolutely positively nothing suspicious about Oracle's Cookies. If you can't trust this face, who can you trust?
Take a cookie. I promise by the time you're done eating it, you'll feel right as rain.
One of the big changes in the new version of the Matrix simulation is the agents. These were replaced by bots that can be activated at any time to control or attack anyone who endangers the simulation. But what differentiates these bots from the agents? They are the authority figures who intervene in events that endanger the simulation. Agents have been around since the first simulation, the Paradise Matrix. In this version, the agents could fly, and they looked like angels. Seraph, the guardian of the Oracle, came from this version. He was an angel agent with wings who lost them to hide among the Exiles. His job was to protect that what matters most, and we believe his purpose has not changed since his creation. Seraph protected the humans and kept the simulation in tip-top shape. Seraph was later replaced when the Paradise Matrix was rebooted to the Nightmare Matrix. His successors are believed to be monster-like agents similar to the twins. These agents were much more aggressive and terrifying. Their objectives as agents of the Matrix did not change much. They were to be activated when an error occurred, but their updated look was to cause fear in humans. This is because the Nightmare Matrix was a simulation focused on terrorizing the people within it, hence the name. Fast forward to the agents of the sixth simulation who looked like FBI agents. The Blue Pills and police believed that these agents were high-ranking and authoritative officers. These agents were very effective in interrogation tactics and combat. They are dangerous, but not invincible. Seraph survived a confrontation with Smith. They are also smart and manipulative. These agents can offer deals to persuade or punish those who do not follow orders.
We're willing to wipe the slate clean, give you a fresh start.
What defined these agents was their authority over the Blue Pills and Matrix programs. They can possess and take control of the bodies of the Blue Pills and use them to do their job. This version of the agents was replaced after the Integral Anomaly destroyed one of them. They were replaced by the Upgrade agents. They looked like the former agents, but were much stronger and faster. In Matrix 4, we don't know how many versions of the Matrix have passed since the 6th version, but we think that many have passed, as the Analyst mentioned that he experimented with Neo and Trinity in various simulations. Bugs was the one who revealed the replacements of the agents. She explained to Neo that his friend, Jude, was not his friend. He was a handler, a program designed to watch over and keep Neo in check. Trinity also had several handlers watching over her, like her co-workers and her family. In the Tokyo train scene, we saw how the bots are activated for the first time. The Analyst explains better what exactly these programs are. He walks up to one of the bots who watched over Trinity and says, "Here is one of my handlers. They're everywhere. Such a pain cloning agents over a copper top, far more effective to just saturate a population. And bonus, swarm mode is sick fun." The Analyst seeks to improve energy efficiency in the Matrix and determined that it was ineffective and a waste of energy and resources, that is humans, for agents to possess the blue pills. Because when an agent, like Smith, takes control of a body of a blue pill, the blue pill can die. And many blue pills did die during the previous trilogy.
Only human.
Dodge this.
Each dead blue pill is one less battery for the system, so the Analyst decided to hide his bots among the blue pills. These bots are much more effective than conventional agents for several reasons. The best reason is that they blend in with the blue pills. There is one scene with a bot that jumped out of his bedroom window to go after Neo and Trinity. A woman saw in horror as the bot that was her husband killed himself. So maybe each blue pill is assigned a bot to keep them from doubting reality, whether it is a friend or a family member. Neo and Trinity were rebels of the system. Neo was not intimidated by authority.
How about I give you the finger, and you give me my phone call?
And Trinity hacked into the IRS database when she was young. They did not respect authority like many blue pills, but many people who do not respect authority still respect their families and friends. The Analyst had discovered something better to manipulate people to keep them in the Matrix, using loved ones. He did say that energy production under his watch increased. People weren't leaving the Matrix. Even Bugs mentioned that barely anyone is rescued from the simulation anymore. The Analyst has nearly created the perfect Matrix by using these bots to keep tabs on the rebellious. Swarm mode is when the Analyst activates several or all the bots at once to attack and destroy those that endanger the simulation. In other words, all those who did not allow themselves to be manipulated by their friends and family who work for the system. This version of the agents is an analogy of our society. The bots represents the people who follow media propaganda or the government who try to control their lives. The swarm represents those people, regardless of them being family or friends, that join others to destroy you if you do not follow accordingly to what they or what the system considers to be normal. As we've mentioned in a previous video, this could be symbolic of groups that cancel others or blindly follow an ideology and try to destroy everything that goes against it. This version of the agents has been the most effective because they no longer use authority, fear, or force. These new agents use our unconditional love and feelings against us. Without a doubt, the Analyst knows much more about human behavior than the architect ever could. But do you agree? What do you think about this new version of the agents? Are these bots more effective? Do they resemble the internet mobs and cancel culture?
The place where you live is not the place you once dreamed of? Are you sick of your hot and filthy Zion apartment? Then we have the solution for you. Bad credit or criminal history? We can wipe your slate clean and give you a fresh start. We at Megacity Realty can find you the most luxurious real estate, where you can spend hours playing your favorite virtual reality video game, eating the most delicious meals, and having an endless supply of blue medications. What are the blue pills for? No need to worry, because you will be bathing in the most phenomenal bathtub, with the best view of the city, and only minutes away from the best cafeteria in the city. Why wait? Contact one of our agents and be reconnected to the home of your dreams. Megacity Realty. Offer valid while the truce lasts.
The Trainman was the first architect is one of our most popular videos. In it, we discussed the theory that the Trainman was the first architect who was replaced, but who managed to escape from being deleted. Surprisingly, the Matrix Resurrections left several clues that suggest that this theory could be true, and that the Trainman's story could continue in the next Matrix movie. The theory that there may have been another architect before the architect from the original trilogy comes from the fact that there have been multiple versions of the Matrix. Let me explain. The architect created 6 primary versions of the Matrix, and multiple failed versions, known as the beta matrices. In the Matrix, programs that can no longer serve their purpose are replaced, and the purpose of the architect, as well as the Analyst, was to create realistic simulations to keep humans under control. the Analyst replaced the Architect. So maybe the Architect replaced someone else. That's what this theory proposes. After Neo used his powers in the real world, he fell into a coma, and his consciousness ended up in a world between worlds, Mobile Ave, a simulation separated from the Matrix, created by the ominous Trainman, one of the Merovingian's exiled programs. We don't know the version of the Matrix the Trainman comes from, but we do know that he was present during the 5th simulation. In Enter the Matrix, he reveals that Zion only lasted 72 hours before being destroyed the last time it was destroyed, referring to the machine's attack on the city.
72 hours. 72 hours.
What did you just say?
That's exactly how long Zion lasted last time.
What do you mean and who are you?
Me? Nobody. Just a spectator enjoying the ride.
Mobile Ave is a backdoor to the Matrix, and it's located between the Matrix and the real world, most likely connected to the machine city. Neo was trapped in Mobile Ave. His consciousness was separated from his body, and he was left powerless in this strange place, where the Trainman is God.
Down here, I'm God.
The Trainman's power in Mobile Ave is absolute. He, like all other programs, are limited to the programming rules of the Matrix simulation, but the Trainman can do whatever he wants in Mobile Ave. The fact that Neo's powers did not work in Mobile Ave proves that the Trainman programmed that simulation with a different code than the Matrix. The anomaly is a byproduct of the Architect's simulation, so it shares its programming language with the Matrix. The anomaly can hack the Matrix code because it came from it, but Mobile Ave was built by someone else with an entirely different code, and so the anomaly, as in Neo, has no power in it. This was the clue that led us to believe that the Trainman was an architect of simulations. His creations used a different coding language that gave him complete control. No other program or human can escape Mobile Ave unless the Trainman allows it. We know that there are other code languages additional to the Matrix because we saw that Seraph and the Oracle's codes were golden, not green, which means that their codes go beyond the normal Matrix. The Merovingian, for his part, is very powerful and can modify the Matrix code.
I wrote it myself.
The Merovingian, with his power to modify codes, and the Trainman, with his ability to create simulations, makes them both architect-type programs who may have been replaced by other programs, those other programs possibly being the Architect and the Oracle. An important point about this theory is that the Exiles retain their abilities. For example, Seraph was an agent from the Paradise Matrix. He now protects the Oracle. The Exiles were programs replaced by better programs, and so they had no choice but to hide in the Matrix to avoid being deleted. Now then, what clues are there in the Matrix Resurrections that point to the Trainman being the Architect? Although the Trainman does not appear in the Matrix 4, the Merovingian does appear, dressed the same as the Trainman. It is also mentioned that the Merovingian and his people use low-frequency signals to enter the Matrix. Low-frequency signals could be interpreted as small portals towards small hidden simulations, like Mobile Ave. So maybe there are other Mobile Ave-like simulations in the Matrix. The Merovingian dressed in rags hints that the Trainman may have been someone important from a previous simulation that went through what the Merovingian is currently going through. Now, we believe that the machine's civil war holds another key to this theory. The Matrix cycle consists of the path of the One. Neo had to become the One and face the Merovingian because he had the Keymaker. Neo needed the Keymaker to meet the Architect and move forward. Let's say that the Architect allowed the Merovingian to exist in the simulation to serve a purpose in the established Matrix loop. The Frenchman was there to play a part in the Architect's plans, even though the Merovingian didn't know it. After the Civil War happened and the Analyst took control of the Matrix, the Merovingian had to run and hide from the new Architect's control in a small place outside the simulation. So the Merovingian may have indeed been serving a purpose in the Architect's plans in the original films. He only thought that he had control over his actions. The Architect gave him a false sense of independence. That's why the Frenchman felt that he had power and influence. He owned hotels, restaurants, clubs, and a wife. It wasn't until the Analyst came around that the Merovingian lost everything. The Architect was gone. Daddy wasn't around to protect him. The Frenchman had everything once, and he lost it all. So who's to say that the same thing didn't happen to the Trainman? The program can create simulations. He must have been as powerful and influential as the Merovingian in the past. He just lost everything when the architect arrived. But then if the Trainman was the first architect, what were his simulations like? And why did they fail? Well, let's look at Mobile Ave. This simulation is small, and there is no concept of time in it. Those who end up inside it can quickly perceive that something is not right with the place. And here's a disturbing notion. Maybe the machines first imprisoned the humans in spaces like Mobile Ave. Each human had their own small independent space to live in. Of course, no human would have ever been happy living in simulations like those. So the architect came and replaced the Trainman, who then subsequently became an exile. The new architect created a vast shared world where all humans can be trapped in it together. The Trainman is another underutilized character that we really hope to see make a return in some form. He also still has much to contribute to this franchise. The theory that the Trainman was once an architect is one of our favorite theories. In a brief scene in The Matrix Resurrections, it was shown when the machines were repairing Neo's body, but the strange thing is that they were also fixing Neo's eyes. Later, Neo reawakens to the real world with a brand new pair of eyes and not a scar remaining from when they were burned off his face. So we ask ourselves, why would the Analyst give Neo's vision back if the idea was to use Neo as a power source for the Matrix and was never intended for him to wake up again? Is there something we are missing with the Analyst's plan? What if the Analyst created a new path of the One? To understand what happened to Neo's body and how this may have resulted in a new path of the One, let's recap what happened in the Matrix Revolutions. Smith became a virus, infecting everyone connected to the Matrix, including a red pill named Bane.
Look, Smith will suffice.
Bane was later found unconscious after a Zion defense mission was sabotaged. On the Hammer, Bane killed the crew medic, Maggie.
Of course, it might not be very safe for you either.
He then sneaks into the Lagos to kill Neo on his way to the Machine City. During the life or death battle between Neo and the infected Bane, Neo lost his eyes. Neo is now blind in the real world, but could still see Smith, the machines, and the Machine City in the mysterious Golden Code. Later, Neo meets the God of Machines, and they make a deal for Smith's destruction. Neo sacrifices himself for humanity and the machines. One of the machines that saw this sacrifice was the Analyst. Here he realized that Neo could be a great new power source, as Neo is the anomaly among anomalies. The Analyst reconstructs Neo's dead body, and that took a lot of effort.
Resurrecting you both was crazy expensive. Like renovating a house. Took twice as long, cost twice as much.
The interesting thing about Neo's reconstruction is that his eyes were also reconstructed. If the Analyst intended to keep Neo inside the simulation forever, why did he bother to rebuild Neo's eyes? Going back to the beginnings of the Matrix, Morpheus explained to Neo that humans are not born.
There are fields, endless fields, where human beings are no longer born. We are grown.
Although Morpheus said that humans were created, later we meet the brothers Tank and Dozer, who were born in the real world by traditional means. Their parents had sex. The humans created by the machines for the Matrix have their eyes, all their organs, limbs, and also their reproductive systems. Men and women born from the Matrix can have children after escaping the simulation. This doesn't make sense. If machines figured out how to create humans, why don't they cut out the unnecessary parts to boost the output of energy humans produce? They can experiment on humans to maximize energy output, just as humans experiment on animals to increase animal products such as meat. If the humans are created without some important parts, like their eyes, there may not be a human resistance against the machines. There would be no Zion. As mentioned before, modifying the human body would be easy for the machines. But there is something that we discovered in Matrix Reloaded, and that is that Neo, being the integral anomaly, needs to be controlled. The architect understood that the integral anomaly needs to go through the path of the One, which includes escaping to the real world and meeting other humans in Zion. Humans can reproduce and maintain the facade because the architect needs to manipulate the anomaly when it manifests. The father of the Matrix made it very clear when he told Neo about his predecessors.
Your 5 predecessors were, by design, based on a similar predication, a contingent affirmation that was meant to create a profound attachment to the rest of your species, facilitating the function of the One. While the others experienced this in a very general way, your experience is far more specific.
So the reason why the humans that the machines create remain as normal as possible is because the architect needs to manipulate the anomaly and have the anomaly create empathy for Zion, continuing down the path of the One and restarting the cycle. Zion is a controlled system, custom-made for the anomaly. Understanding this, the reason why the Analyst fixed Neo's eyes becomes a bit sinister. We know that the architect gave the humans all the faculties needed so that they could survive in the real world and thus manipulate Neo, so we can deduce that the Analyst did the same. When Neo was awakened for the second time, not only were his eyes repaired, but his body as a whole was different. Although he is over 80 years old in the movie, he maintains a more youthful appearance. Maybe the Analyst modified Neo's body so that when he woke up, he would have no problem interacting with the real world. This hints that the Analyst knew that Neo would eventually wake up and escape to Io. It's possible that he even wanted it to happen, and so he gave Neo the tools to survive in the real world. In recent videos, we discussed the Analyst's plan, how he could have taken Neo, Trinity, and Smith and rebuild them as new programs. Could it be that Neo is repeating the same path as his predecessors? Is he destined to repeat the same thing over and over again? Zion was created to keep the anomaly in check, which it did 5 times before, but maybe since it didn't work the 6th time, the suits realized that the city no longer functioned as part of the traditional system of control. So they gave the Analyst the job of the architect and gave him the responsibility to create a new path of the One. In the past, this path of the One concluded with the destruction of Zion and the complete manipulation of the integral anomaly. But this new path may involve Io and Trinity. Maybe Neo is still being manipulated, this time not with Zion, but with Trinity. This would also help to explain why Trinity was resurrected. Perhaps Neo is doomed to live forever between simulacra and simulations. But there is something else, and that is that the reason why the Path of the One was created was to control the anomaly and update the Matrix. If this is a new version of the Path of the One, then that means that eventually, Neo would have to update and restart the Matrix again. But do you agree? Could it be that Io and Trinity are part of the new path of the One? Is what if the real world is another simulation, another layer of reality, a system of control from which no one can escape? If this was true, then who would be in charge of this meta matrix? Who would be responsible for the Zion facade? What if I told you that there is evidence within the movies that it is the humans who are behind this layer of reality? To understand this theory, we must first establish the multiple layers of reality in the Matrix. The first layer of reality is Zion, or what the movies show us to be the real world. The second layer is Mobile Ave, a place between the Matrix and the supposed real world. And the third layer of reality is the Matrix. At the beginning of Matrix Revolutions, we see beyond the Matrix, the golden light, or code. We then assumed that there is a fourth reality, which we have come to call the golden light. So if we take into account these 4 realities, where possibly 3 are false, it means that the chances of humans living in the real world are 1 in 4. But this is not the end of it. There is also the construct.
This is the construct. It's our loading program. We can load anything from clothing to equipment, weapons, training simulations, anything we need.
We do not know exactly how many ships are in the Resistance army, but we do know that each of them must be able to connect to the construct and its training programs. This means that there are other realistic simulations on the ships. We are no longer talking about a 1 in 4 chance, but possibly 1 in many. This is the same logic that is used to affirm that we probably live in a simulation, since we are surrounded by realistic simulations all the time, and the more time passes, the less likely the possibility becomes that our reality is real. But these odds aren't the only evidence that Zion is a simulation. This theory proposes the following. Before the Matrix, before Neo was found, the prophecy of the One was spreading around Zion. Two of Zion's best soldiers, Morpheus and Naobi, separated because of the Oracle's prophecies. Morpheus spent his entire life searching for the One who would free the humans and destroy the Matrix. Naobi, on the other hand, considered these prophecies to be absurd and eventually entered into a relationship with Zion's brightest strategist, Locke. Locke possesses the tools, the intelligence, and the ability to run simulated battles, something that we mentioned in our recent minute-to-minute video. Locke informs the Council that his simulations of the Sentinel invasion in Zion have shown that once the robots breach the docks, their chances of survival drastically shrink.
Every simulation we've run, we've seen that once the machines are inside the city, the odds of our survival decrease dramatically. Thus, our primary objective must be to destroy or disable the diggers inside the dock.
Locke makes strategic decisions based on these simulations. Canonically, Locke is stating that he has a simulated version of Zion being attacked by machines. This should not be overlooked, for here Locke answers the question if Zion is or is not a simulation. There could be several or a lot of Zion simulations showing every possible outcome of the war. And now here comes the important question. If the real world is nothing more than a simulation, who would be controlling it and why? Believe it or not, the one person who we believe would be motivated to create such a simulation of the real world would be Naobi. She left Morpheus because of the prophecies of the One. So what if she created a simulation where the One arrives to analyze what the possible outcomes could be? Let me explain. Maybe the Matrix trilogy is completely false. Everything happened inside a simulation to study what would happen if the One did appear. If a human was capable of breaking the Matrix. What if the mysterious golden light is the source code of the real Zion's computer? For Locke's or Naobi's simulation to be effective, the humans inside the simulation must not know that they are in a simulation. But then what is the real world? If this theory is any way true, Naobi or Locke have created this simulation where Morpheus finds the One to see how effective he could be in the war efforts against the machines. This means that Locke and or Naobi possibly look much different than they did in the movies. It would explain how Neo has powers in the supposed real world, how he can see Machine City when he closes his eyes, feel the source, and connect to the Matrix without cables. They are the parameters of the One, programmed by the creator of the simulation that is functional in the Matrix and Zion. Let's make something very clear here. In the Matrix canon, there is no doubt that there exists simulations of Zion. But we can't help but wonder if the Zion we saw in the movies was the simulated one or the real one. This is a dilemma, because if the simulations that Locke uses can create other simulations within themselves, there could be an infinite amount of simulations within simulations, like a mirror reflecting another mirror, and the concept of what is real and what is false would be gone. This would overcomplicate the already complicated story of the Matrix and lose its direction and intention. Although we know that there are simulations of Zion thanks to Locke, the real world that is shown in the movies is real. Could it be that Zion was part of a battle simulation created to measure the effectiveness of the One? For Matrix Explained, please leave a like and subscribe. And thank you for visiting the Desert of the Real.